So welcome back to SK Lifestyle. This is the final installment of the Jetski problem series. Yeah, that's right. This one is, as this title suggests, all about the insurance. Yeah, I wanted to make a specific video just on that because I wanted to discuss some of the events that I went through, what I felt like process was like, and all that sort of stuff. And I have had a few requests from people watching the other videos asking when this one was coming out. So shout out to all of you that are watching and requesting. I appreciate it. Keeping me honest here because I said I would put it out and I've been slacking a little bit. I wanted this out maybe at least 2-3 weeks ago because the season's just starting right now. So I know a lot of you are out there looking for what kind of a coverage do you want and so forth. I am not going to be doing this video telling you exactly, hey, get this exact coverage, do this, do that. I'm going to tell you about my experience, what I had going on, what I thought about it, and what the ultimate result was. So I haven't really rehearsed much, but of course I lived it all, so I think I can speak to it pretty well. So just a quick recap, because you can catch all those videos, and I might link 1 or 2 up above, or you can check out on some of the playlists. But I had a 2017 Sea-Doo GTI 155 SE. I had it for, since it was made in 2017, got it fresh from the dealership. And so anyway, I've had it for a few years. I was up at the lake house, first time with our own lake house and so forth, ripping it. Somebody pulled the plugs and it went sinking. Tried to rectify it, and I'm actually going to speak to a little bit of what I did and so forth in a minute with that. But I tried to rectify it, and so couldn't get it working again for the vacation, so I had to bring it back home and take it to my local power sports dealership. And actually, shout out to Scranton Power Sports. I will shout them out because they do a great job. Great people there. So if you're in Connecticut, I would highly suggest to check them out. Service department, sales, they're all wonderful there. And yeah, even the management, really shout them out. So that's where obviously the insurance part came in. Now, I obviously reported this. Well, no, here's how it went. When I was up at vacation, I tried everything I could to rectify the situation. I knew that just calling it in right away was not going to do anything. Progressive, and that's who I had, in case you're wondering, but I think the thumbnail kind of suggested it. But I had Progressive Insurance. Now, they are widely known as a big insurer for watercraft and specifically for PWCs, Sea-Doos, jet skis, whatever you want to call them, right? Even the dealership that I went to, said that everybody really covers their stuff with that. Funny enough, I actually just called Progressive today to get a quote on our boat insurance. So I'll leave that caveat for the end. But so yeah, be that as it may, you're probably out there right now thinking, hey, maybe I should call up Progressive. I know there's a few others that I've kind of heard of, but Progressive's a big name for automobiles, and hey, if everyone's saying watercraft, why not? Hopefully this video will help you kind of either make your decision to go with them or not go with them. I am, again, just going through what happened with me in this specific situation. So, knowing that, and again, I will say one thing real quick. There's no time limit on this. This is probably going to be one of my longer videos. I know some of them usually run kind of short or a little medium. I'm not putting a time limit on this. So, feel free to fast forward or whatever you want to do in this if need be. Hope you watch the whole thing. Either way, hit the like button and the subscribe button. Yeah, help old SK out, right? But just wanted to say that. So anyway, I'm up at the lake and again, I knew it wasn't like Progressive was going to run out and dump a new jet ski in my lap to go use the rest of the vacation. No, man, that would have been like heaven, right? But anyway, so my whole thing was, well, I know I have the insurance. I know that's all something that I can take care of at any point. So the first few days while I'm up at the lake, well, I was already up there a day or two, but the next few days I was trying to rectify it. So I actually have a list. Let me throw this on here so I'm not squinting the whole time. So some of the things that I bought right away once I had an issue, and I might throw this up on the screen real quick just so you could take a look. I also provided this to the insurance company. And I gave them some printouts of receipts and stuff, but I'm not going to have to show all that. I went to the local store and I got a pump out supply supplies. Got the oil kit, the funnel, what do you call it? Spark plugs, oil filter. Obviously, I siphoned out all the gas and what do you call it? Put new gas in there. What do you call it? And yeah, Sea-Doo oil. Of course, you know, I made sure I got the best I could get, and some fogger and stuff. So that was some of the things that I needed. I had my tools and stuff with me, but you know, I didn't have all the extra supplies. So I went in, and that's totaling, we'll just say almost 300 bucks, right? 250, 300, whatever. So I was obviously invested in trying to get this machine back. And I'm sure you can see through some of my videos, you can see me tinkering with it and so forth. And the other thing was, I was able to get it started later on that day after, you know what I mean, what do you call it? Getting all the water out of the inside of the hull, you know, trying to clear the spark plugs, you know what I mean, and swap those out and stuff. So it was starting to run again. So that made me hopeful. So I was like, well, I'm not going to just go make a claim. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that kind of person. Like, I'm not just out here trying to, you know, get stuff. Like, I want my machine. And all of you have saw me, my last farewell to my machine. That meant a lot. Even if I go get the newest, the Sea-Doo Apex right now, that pain of losing that 2017 Sea-Doo is not leaving that soon. So it meant a lot. So I really wanted to get it going. And I started to have hope, like, you know what I mean? And last year, the year before, my Sea-Doo died because the battery was just wearing down, and you know what I mean? Then I was worried about it. So got a new battery, got it up and running. So I already went through that kind of issue. So I was like, you know what? Fingers crossed, I can use a little SK magic here, get it going. And then you can see through some of the videos, you know, I went on the water at the family's dock on the river and, you know, just testing it out. I went upriver so that way if I had any problems, I could at least, even if the engine cuts off, at least float back down to the dock. You know, it might take me another 20 minutes to, you know, the current or whatever. But what, you know what I mean? Using my brain there. So I eventually found that it just wasn't happening. And it looked like now the Sea-Doo was starting to take on water, even with the plugs in. You know what I mean? From whatever damage occurred from driving it with hundreds of pounds of water in it for a few miles just to get back to the lake house. Lo and behold, the jet bearing was damaged. I think even a little bit of the carbon seal, like where the impeller is, ended up getting damaged, and so you know water started coming in from there, and all that a result of the chaos that occurred in that 10 minutes trying to get the Sea-Doo back while it was sinking. So I provided this to them, and of course, you know, I called in, made a complete statement, you know, and that's the thing. I think all of you know, I kind of usually have a camera rolling sometimes, right? You know, it's part of that YouTube life or whatever, right? So I provided them all of the raw footage from beginning to end, me working on the ski the whole entire time, going out to the Sea-Doo, getting on it, driving it, watching it starting to sink, driving it all the way back to the lake house, dumping out all the water and stuff for minutes at a time, the whole thing. They had, even though the event of sinking only took about, you know, from the time it started sinking to getting back was about 8 to 10 minutes, they had about 2 hours of footage, right? So again, I provided them receipts. I provided them an affidavit of what I was doing, you know, credit card statements of showing what I was doing, and so like money I'd spent and all this. So I am going to say, obviously it's a unique situation. It's a little hard to prove that vandalism occurred, right? But you can also see in the video, my attitude was to go out and ride. I'm having fun on the jet ski. I was riding it for a few minutes, like, and then you could see the panic look on my face as it's going down. This is all recorded the whole time. So it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, somebody messed with the ski, and then I just go and mess with it, and then I'm like over here like trying to make a claim. Now, as any insurance company, and especially with like recreational vehicles and stuff, of course they're going to want to do their due diligence to ensure or to make sure, I don't want to confuse people, to make sure that what is being claimed is actually happening, that the damage that has occurred is something that is part of the policy. I don't discredit that. I don't discount that whatsoever. That is completely sane and reasonable. I'm a pretty educated person. I know about contracts. I deal with them all the time. There's nothing about that seems odd and disingenuous whatsoever, right? So we're going through now. This is what happened. So I actually have a document here that I recorded from July 18th, which was the day that the jet ski sank. So I documented, obviously that I went back, the week after I came back home, and I started, I documented that part. So I probably started this document more around like July 25th when I was back home kind of thing. So the first few, I just documented, what happened on the lake, but on a Word document, okay, this is what happened on this day. Because I started to notice like, there's a difference between somebody saying, okay, well, hey, we need to check this. We want to see what the dealer says. So, the whole time Progressive was saying, well, we need to see if water intruded into the engine block, right? You know what I mean? Or if it was just some kind of other damage that occurred. Okay. So then the dealer says, well, there's a few different ways that we can do this. Of course, you can just tear the whole machine apart, right? But they said, before we do that, we can kind of pull the exhaust. We can pull the air intake. And we can see if water intruded, like in the valves. You know what I mean? In some of those internal parts right there. Because if we see that water came in, then we know that the sinking event did end up causing some kind of issue with the engine itself. And so, that all seemed reasonable to all parties. You know what I mean? So I said, yeah, fine. I authorize, Progressive to, or I authorize the dealership to do those different, examinations. Because the other thing is, say you go through all of this with the dealership, and then all of a sudden, Progressive says, well, yeah, what happened is something that's not covered on your policy. Well, the dealership's still going to want the money for what they're doing. So as good people, they said, well, hey, let's try to do the least cost effective or the most cost effective thing right off the bat, because if we can tell, then great. And if that isn't it, and then, the owner, which is me, is liable for the charges, well, at least he's only out, $700, $800 or $600, whatever it was going to be, versus, a $6,000 bill to tear apart a whole engine, right? Okay, fine. Shout out to my lovely wife for making some Mandarin water. Maybe I'll do a video on that. Anyway, tastes great. So we authorize that. They go ahead, they do that. So they come back and they say, hey, yes, we did find that water did make intrusions. We can see water around the valves starting to corrode a little bit. So clearly, that's what happened. Then Progressive's like, well, we still need to see, how this took place. And I guess I'm getting a little ahead here because I am getting a little ahead. And this is where a little bit of pre-planning maybe in the video would have been best. Sorry, YouTube problems, whatever. But the reason why I started to make this document here, the tone and the insinuations that were coming from Progressive were not just inquiries. They weren't just questions to obtain data, waiting for more information from the dealership and to go about. The entire time, and I'm not one of these people that is always suspect or looking to be a victim or anything like this, but the entire time, I was basically being spoken to as if what I'm saying occurred couldn't have possibly happened, and almost to the suggestion that maybe they never came out and flat out said that they thought that I was doing something criminal, but they basically gave that impression as if I wasn't a victim in all this, as if somebody didn't victimize my property, as if I didn't almost have an issue in the water and sink. Now, I'm a very strong swimmer. So honestly, there was no question that I could swim to either side of Lake Champlain. Yes, I was on Lake Champlain when this happened. A huge body of water. But I'm a great swimmer. But still, you never know. You never know what could have happened, right? I was in the middle of the lake. Nobody was on the lake too, because it was going to storm in about 30 minutes. I went to go rip the jet ski for 20 minutes before the storm came, right? So there's not people out there that are just flying by that are going to stop and tow me in or check to see how I'm doing, right? So who knows? What if I got a cramp? You know what I mean? What if I was already gassed from the night before from partying and whatever, and now I got a cramp and now I can't, you know what I mean? It was a serious situation. They never, like, they almost, it was disregarded. And again, it's not like they're supposed to say, oh, you know, I'm so, like, a little sympathy is good. Doesn't mean the sympathy means they have to pay out the claim. But I shouldn't be sitting here feeling as if I'm somehow criminal or somehow I'm trying to, like, commit fraud against them or something like this. And I say that because at this point, we kept going back and forth as far as what was going to, you know, satisfy them as what they needed to see. Because again, I didn't want to just go ahead and sign a waiver that says do whatever you want to do to this machine, however much the dealership service is going to be, and have no idea because if they're giving me this impression that they're not going to pay out the claim, that they almost feel like I'm somehow involved in this or had some, you know what I mean? As if what I'm alleging isn't not even just true, but probably something else happened, then I'm getting suspect of what, if there could be any positive outcome for me. So then I'm starting to get nervous. So when they said, hey, we'll do this and this first before we tear it all down, I said yes. We go through that whole process, we get through, and when it's done, the woman I'm working with is like, well, they never went through the entire engine. I'm like, listen, I honestly forget her name right now. I'm not even going to say because what does it really matter, right? Lauren, Kristen, I don't know, whatever it was. So I'm like, listen, we all agreed while we were all there that this is what we were going to do. And then they did it. They found what you said you were looking for, which is water intrusion. And now all you're telling me is, well, we still need them to break down the engine because we need to see what happened. I'm like, well, you just said you wanted to see if water intruded because that would give you an indication if it was able to have the claim paid out. So then we started getting down this rabbit hole of what is going to satisfy this claim. The machine's already at the dealer. It's not like I'm over here able to keep tinkering with it or do some kind of nefarious stuff with it. They are in possession of this machine. I am just trying to understand what they want to satisfy. And she just could not say. She could not say. She just kept saying, well, you know, we need to see if water went in. Oh, well, you know, we need to see if other things failed. And then they started saying, well, it could just been a catastrophic engine failure. All of you have seen, well, I'm not going to say all of you. Many of you probably have seen the video. If not, I'd say go watch it. But I, again, provided them all the raw footage. You're not going to be riding a jet ski all out. And then even when I'm coming back, the ski was still running. The reason why there was so much problems because water was coming in from the plugs that I didn't know were taken out by some teenagers or something that vandalized it. And it kept taking on more and more water. And so I finally asked to elevate this claim to like a supervisor or something. Bad idea. Not really a bad idea, but you'll see why in a second. The person that they have come on, her supervisor, whoever is in charge of this district area, this guy, and yeah, I'm going to say it like that, this guy had the nerve, had the balls to tell me that there is no way that water intruding into the hull of a jet ski and riding it back at 45 miles an hour for 3 miles could in any way damage anything inside of the jet ski. That's what he told me. He said he's been boating for over 30 years. He's been dealing with jet skis for 25 years. He knows it all. There's no way that could happen. I was like, sir, this conversation is over. And I was like, I need to escalate this further. I said this. I was like, in my life, I don't know a single engineer that I've ever met. I don't know a single mechanic that I ever met that would suggest that you could have hundreds of pounds, and I'll say that, we had water all the way to the top of the engine cover. I estimated how much water it was. You're on the verge of maybe 400 or 500 pounds of water. You know what I mean? A gallon of water is what? 7, 8 pounds? I believe it's 8 pounds. So when you're taking out dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of gallons of water inside that were banging around the engine, now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I 1000% could prove that that water is what caused the damage. But I can sit here and say 1000%, nobody can sit here and say that that isn't a possibility. When the person said to me, it's not even possible, that's when I knew the game was on. That I already feel like you were trying to like criminalize me in this matter. You're already BSing about what is going to define an actual payout of the claim, and then just asking for more services to be done. I almost felt like they were like playing chicken with me. Well, if he's willing to possibly incur thousands of dollars in service charges, then maybe this is really valid. I don't know what was going on. And then when I got this guy, and he starts saying that hundreds of pounds of water banging around an engine inside the hull of a jet ski could in no way possibly damage internal parts, but he could also in the same breath say that maybe there was just a catastrophic engine failure. If there was a catastrophic engine failure, why didn't the ski just stop moving? If the engine locked up like any engine ever that has catastrophic failure, nothing came blowing out of it. There was no flames, there was no sparks, there was no explosion, there was no stopping of the engine until there was so much water in it. And you'll see right at the end, right when I got there, when the water was all the way up to the top of the engine cover, the engine or the ski finally cut off. Probably because it was choking and it couldn't actually even get air. You know what I'm saying? That's probably the most anxious or angry you've seen me on this channel. So you know it was a lot of BS. It was crazy. And so that's why I wanted to make this video. So if you saw some of my other videos, long story short, it was paid out. They did finally total the jet ski after the dealership did even more investigation. Even the manager said, I'm not quite sure why they're doing, why this is necessary. We've already proven what they want to see. They broke down the whole engine. They only proved more of what they already knew. And so to me, it was silly of Progressive, because now you incurred another $6,000 or $5,000, whatever it was. Maybe it was like 4,000 and some change or whatever from all the services that they had done, plus breaking down this engine block and all this stuff, and then paying out the claim to me. And so I'm thankful. And again, this is complete transparency. I'm not here to say, again, I just asked for a quote today. Now, will I go with Progressive? I don't know. And I'll talk about, actually, I'm going to do no, I will mention it right now. I was told I would get Sign and Glide, which is like, you know, making sure you can get towed on the water if you have any problems. When I was on my jet ski like 3 years ago on the river, I sucked something up and it stopped the impeller. So I just, like, it wouldn't work. So I could tell it was jittery, so I immediately shut it off, right? And I couldn't reach far enough in. You know what I mean? So I was on the dock. I called up Progressive. They're like, oh, hey, yeah, you don't got Sign and Glide. Long story short, excuse me. So now I double, triple checked on this quote. Like, you're sure? You're sure? It's on there. If I purchase this, it's on there. You're going to take care of me, because I was so pissed. And they were like, well, you know, you should have checked your policy. I'm like, listen, go back into the archives and listen to the video. Or to the audio call. Now, yes, you could say, well, you know, you do get a policy. If you speak to somebody, you talk to them, they call up, you pay the money over the phone, and I'm just renewing my policy, I'm not checking. Now, of course, as somebody who deals with contracts and stuff, it's probably a little bit on me. But I was really pissed. Because we asked for the maximum available insurance coverage that we could have. It was our first watercraft. It was a brand new watercraft. We didn't care how much the insurance was going to be. I wanted everything. That's what I said. As much coverage as can be had. I want every single thing you offer. So I was pretty upset. But again, going back, they did pay out the claim. And so I guess I'm saying all that to say this is that I'm not sitting here just trying to trash Progressive. I'm being honest. I didn't say, I'm not making up stories and you know what I mean? They paid out the claim. We got a check for the value of the ski. And actually, because of the way the market is and stuff, it actually ended up being slightly more than what we paid. It was more than what we paid for the ski originally because how crazy the market is post-COVID and stuff. So, but out of the jet ski sinking, the worst part of this entire experience was dealing with Progressive in this whole manner. Because the jet ski sinking and all that only lasted a few minutes. Then me trying to rectify it lasted a day or two. This lasted from July 25th to my last recorded thing was September 15th. And that wasn't even it. Because the claim wasn't paid out, I think, until almost October. I have to go back. Well, you guys can keep me honest. We can see that I'm not going to waste the time now to look through it. But when I posted my video, my last goodbye, it was right around there. That was like the day of or the day after they said that the claim was being paid out and so forth. So we're talking all the way to October, July, September, like months. And then not only was it months, I can understand it takes time, but the whole time dealing with that kind of just nonsense, you know what I mean? Like, it was more excruciating. And then not knowing if I'm going to be in trouble or like responsible for all these additional charges that's being incurred by the dealership and so forth. It was pretty much a nightmare. And so everybody still said, the dealership said that, everybody uses Progressive a lot for jet skis and so forth. Again, but the marina I just went to that we're looking for a boat and so forth, and we're going to go check out this weekend. So yeah, this game might have a boat. We'll see. Like I said, we're shopping. And don't get discouraged. We have so much going on. I want a jet ski. I'm going to have a jet ski. But we just have so much going on. I can't say for sure that I'm going to get one this season. If not, then there'll be plenty of videos of me at the boat show this winter finding out what Sea-Doo's coming out with. And stay tuned, because I also seen that, I forget what it is, the Rise or whatever they got, that e-foil thing. Yeah, that's checklist 2 coming out 2024. So stay tuned and hit that subscribe button for SK. But so yeah, sorry, I had to get off on a tangent there. But so, everybody says it, but I will say the dealership did say too, in the past couple years, they've still been fine, with regular claims for, side-by-sides, like, those UTVs and stuff, ATVs, all that kind of stuff, dirt bikes. But for some reason, the jet ski market, they have been a lot more harsh on and scrutinizing a lot more. And again, whatever, I understand it. But I did not appreciate the tone and the sentiment and the insinuations. And not even just that, the flat-out falsehoods telling me that mechanically nothing could go wrong when you have hundreds of pounds and you're certain, because that's just nonsense. I'm not listening to somebody. I'm not paying attention to that. I'm a smart dude. You're not going to play me. I'm educated. I'm smart. I know I'm not an engineer, but I've done plenty of schooling. I know. And I've done plenty of mechanics. I've worked with them. I've worked with these people. I've never met a person that would make that kind of claim. And so when you're dealing with that kind of stuff, it's just very hard to deal with. And so I'm sorry if this kind of seems like it's going off track or whatever. Like I said, I just wanted to voice my opinions, my experience. So take it for whatever it's worth. Again, I'm not here to say one way or the other, but just know that you may want to try to cover yourself as much as possible. And I say that even with me covering myself, showing documents, receipts, providing my affidavit, providing hours of video that you can see of what's occurring, because you guys have watched it. Of course, I cut it up a bit for YouTube, you know what I mean, to see the good parts and whatever, and make it a video and something you watch. But I gave them all the raw footage. So I don't know. I don't really know what more you could do. And I just think if anybody from Progressive listens or ends up hearing this video, whatever, take it for what it's worth as far as my feedback on a customer service piece. You need to be a little bit more sympathetic. You can advise that it's going to be a long process, that you need to do your due diligence, that certain things need to be proven, that you need to understand and so forth. But you don't need to speak to somebody, especially after an event like that, and just keep constantly moving the goalpost, saying one thing, doing another, having somebody come in, not know what the hell they're talking about, and just speak nonsense, and then at the same time keep saying, well, sometimes, things aren't really what they seem. Come on. So I have no idea how long this video ran. Yeah, probably pushing 30 minutes. So I'll try to close it off right here. Obviously, if I do end up getting a boat, I'll be doing tons of videos on that as well. Still trying to get my best friend to get a ski, so maybe he'll get one. We'll do some videos on that and stuff if he gets one. Of course, we'll be shooting a lot of videos once I get mine too. And of course, I'll do a follow-up video on what insurance we choose for the boat. You know what I'm saying? How that goes and so forth. But yeah, I don't know if this is going to be helpful to you. I hope it is. I really hope. That's what I like. I hope people gain a lot of excitement and fun from my videos and just happiness. The motto, carpe diem, be thankful, strive to be happy. Should just be my motto. I hope you adopt it and make it your motto too. It's a great way to live life. You know what I mean? But I just really hope that people also gain from these videos. Some of the reviews and stuff I do, and I get a lot of comments all the time on some of them, and it means a lot when I get it. When I get those comments that something was helpful, that it benefited them and so forth. So if you gain anything from this, I'm just appreciative of that. And if you want to leave a comment down below and your experiences with insurance, or just your comments as far as this being helpful, or if it's not, I can take it too. I can take criticism. You know what I mean? It's no problem with that whatsoever. Just while you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'm going to cut this off right here. I'm probably going to go grab some grub. I'm getting a little hangry here after all this. But I appreciate you sitting through all this. And I'll see you next time. SK Lifestyle.